field for quite some time. He has worked with BNHS in the Important Bird Area program. He has been associated with WWF India in various capacities and has coordinated several conservation programs and has been involved in several grassroots conservation programs. Often wildlife biologists and scientists or researchers are associated in doing research and carrying out publications and then talking in big seminars or meetings like the way I'm talking to you all. But Dr. Satyaprakash Mehra's distinction goes in several grassroots level conservation programs, and he has established several good models in various parts of the country. At the moment, Dr. Mehra is into academics. He is the principal in a college in Ganganagar. I'm sorry, not Ganganagar in Rajasthan. And I look forward to Dr. Mehra's further association with BNHS and Gangapur city. I'm sorry, in Gangapur city in Rajasthan. And I look forward to active interaction with Dr. Mehra and many more books with BNHS in future. So, with these words, I would say we should go ahead for further proceedings of the evening. Thank you.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for the lovely introduction of authors. And I would like to introduce our chief guest for today, Sri Nandi ma'am. She is the CEO and editor-in-chief of the Pan-India Wildlife magazine, SIWAS. She is a member of IUCN Commission for Education and Communication and an active Rotarian District 141. Sensitizing children about the natural world is her special interest area, and through the Eco Achievers programs of SIWAS, she engages over 1,800 schools and 50,000 students in the country every year. On the educational front, she is the Master Engineering from BITS Pilani, and she has had a long stint in the corporate world prior to joining SIWAS. I welcome you here, ma'am.
Thank you, Priyanka. My organization is pronounced SIWAS. It's a difficult name, a Latin name.
Okay.
SIWAS. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to request you to please inaugurate the books. Please release the books.
So, because this is a virtual release, something different, I think, shall all of us hold it up? We have those of us who have the copy?
Sure.
Maybe somebody could take a snapshot just for records. Yeah, wonderful. Vipash has a very natural setting already.
Thank you.
Should we now have the ebook also? I have the cover. Yeah. Is it visible? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think Priyanka has got a little problem network. So would you like to say a few words, please, Sri Nandi?
Yes, sure, Katie. So first of all, thanks Vipash and Katie for inviting me here today. I think releasing new books is absolutely an optimistic way to usher in the new year, especially because 2020 has been such a tough year for all of us. So I have had the privilege of experiencing Katie's repertoire and her popularity among children, not only through her books, but in the storytelling sessions and the workshops that she has conducted for savers in schools and even at the Kalagoda Arts Festival. So the flights of, what is the name, exact name? Flight of the Pink-Headed Ducks and Other Stories is a very thoughtful effort from Katie to spotlight some of our endangered species. And of course, it comes laced with all the magic, the drama, and the good vibes that is so customary of all of Katie's books. So because I see some very young faces in the audience, I'll take the liberty of just sharing 2 to 3 the book, which actually, touched my heart. So whether it's Pasha, which is the snow leopard, Gagan Bher, which is the great Indian bustard, Delphi, the Gangetic river dolphin, or Firefox, the red panda, the lead characters are all childlike, so full of fun, fun-loving, full of life, naughty, and above all, they're all vulnerable and need our help. Also, every story has one common thread, a thread of friendship between at least one of the human faces and a member of the endangered species. And I think these positive associations evoke both love and empathy for this threatened species, which is the whole purpose of Katie coming up with this idea of writing a book on this subject. Another thing I would like to mention is that man-animal conflict issues like habitat degradation due to intensive.
You're muted. Priyanka, please unmute.
Srinandi, ma'am, you are muted.
Can you unmute, please?
Yeah, I have sent the request, ma'am.
Yes.
So another thing I wanted to mention is serious and sensitive issues like man-animal conflict, where she talks of habitat degradation due to intensive agriculture, or hunting by locals for wild meat, or even trade in animal parts. These have all been very gently introduced to create the awareness, but never in a way that adversely affects these impressionable minds. So I find that very creditable, in which she walks the fine line there. Katie explicitly mentions that these stories are work of fiction. So there are moments when imagination takes over delightfully from facts, like the pink-headed duck, which is considered extinct, but which magically appears in the secret island in Bangladesh, or the red panda, which stays back happily domesticated and never wants to get rehabilitated into the wild. So I think it was a wonderful read. Thank you, Katie, for this engaging book and for not only sensitizing us about the endangered species on the red list, but once again nudging us about the endangered species we tend to miss out on, which is our children in nature. That brings me to the other beautiful publication for this evening, an e-book on 100 common birds in India by Dr. Raju Kasambe and Dr. Satya Prakash Mehra. Vivash has also given us an amazing introduction about their entire gamut of work in the birding world, so I don't think I need to add to that. Bird watching has always been a popular hobby, and I think if you will agree that the pandemic has sparked of a renewed interest in it. In fact, we have a new community of balcony bird watchers in cities now who have just woken up to bird songs and sights. I think your book will just lapped up. Children, of course, have traditionally taken great interest in the avian wonders, so that is no surprise. The biggest deterrent, I think, for beginners to get started on bird watching is their difficulty in identifying the birds. So where a book like this, the identification, the calls, habitats, diets, and distribution maps can really help the fence sitters to get started. And the fact that it is a Hindi version ensures it reaches a much broader part of India. The format is also a winner here. An ebook is not only a great idea for distribution and scalability, but it is the format of choice for attracting the young minds to nature. At the risk of possibly overshooting the time allotted to me, I would like to share here that I really feel that all of our wildlife content should embrace technology, because wildlife is a lot about thrill and adventure. And if we really take in, the new features like AI or augmented reality, I think we can really make wildlife reading a lot more immersive experience. I have the privilege of being a member of IUCN, and IUCN has been encouraging the hashtag Nature for All. And I think books like these really help permeate the oneness with nature among the uninitiated. We know that wildlife is a niche community. There are not too many of us, and reading is a dying. So, as conscientious individuals, we really need to actively, I again stress on the word, actively support efforts like these. So, my request to everyone who has taken the time out to join us today. Let's do our bit in spreading the word in our spheres of influence and help the books get the success they really deserve. Congratulations, Katie, Dr. Kasambe, and Dr. Mehra, and thank you everyone for giving me a patient hearing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Srinandi ma'am. And I would like now request Dr. Bivash to say a few words about these two amazing books.
He's on mute.
Bivash sir, are you there?
Yes, he has to unmute.
Yeah, I think, am I audible now?
Yes.
Sri has put Katie's book. I just want to talk about one chapter that Katie has written about Great Indian Bustard. Right now, you can see the whole Thar desert.
Wow.
Giving you a virtual.
Lovely.
But there is tremendous problem here as far as bustards are concerned, and probably less than 100 bustards are living in the wild right now. And in that context, and she has rightly touched all the. Also mentioned about this British man who is still looking for pink-headed duck. I hope it's in five pink-headed duck in the forests or in the swamps of Myanmar. And the pink-headed duck, we see it in flight. Wonderful book will come out in future. And coming to Bharat Ke So Samanya Pakshi, Dr. It's the first book that I laid my hands on. I mean, or just joined my graduation. Raja Sambe's book on Book of Common Indian Birds has been hugely popular. And this today's digital world, although ebooks are no way substitute for the hard copies of the books, but it's definitely an amazing venture and very welcome gesture on the part of Dr. Satyaprakash Mehra, and I hope it manages to generate a lot of interest amongst amateur bird watchers and make people interested in bird watching, and this will go a long way in bird conservation in our country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bivash sir. And let's listen to the book from the writer itself. And I would love to invite Katie ma'am. Can you please say a few words about the book?
Thank you, Priyanka, and thank you, Dr. Bivash, and also thank you, Sri Nandi, for all the whatever you spoke about my book. And a very good evening to everyone here, all my friends. A warm welcome. It is a proud moment for me, I must mention, today to have my Can you hear me now? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So it is a proud moment for me to have my 25th book being published by BNHS and also being released by BNHS, along with the release of the book written by Dr. Raju Kasambe and Dr. Satyaprakash Mehra. This book of mine, Flight of the Pink-Headed Ducks and Other Stories, has had a long journey, I must say. And it began 25 years ago when a friend lent me a book which was written by an author, Rory Nugent, and it was called The Search for the Pink-Headed Duck. And I was very impressed by his story. He describes his journey. He too was, in the quest of this duck, because it is very elusive and very rare to sight. It was last spotted in 1949. And he went all the way from Burma to Bangladesh along the Brahmaputra River. And finally, towards the end of the book, he mentioned seeing a large duck, which he thought could be the pink-headed duck, but he couldn't get a proper sighting of it. So this thought of the pink-headed duck has always been embedded in my head. And 23 years later, when there was so much talk about mass extinction of species, which we are facing now, the 6th largest mass extinction of species, I decided to write stories for children about the endangered species. And the pink-headed duck was, of course, on top of the list, but I did give equal importance to the other 4 species also, as mentioned earlier, the red panda, the snow leopard, the Ganges River dolphin, and the great Indian bustard. And after writing these stories, I just happened to be visiting Hornbill House, which is the main office of BNHS, for some other work. And I came across Vibhuti of the publishing department. And by way of conversation, she told me, we want to start a children's publication center. So do you have anything in mind? And I jumped to it. Yes, I have these stories ready. So that is what set the ball rolling. Then came the question, who would do the illustrations? And the very first name that came to my mind was my good friend Zainab Tambawala. Zainab, can you please wave out so everybody knows? She has done a wonderful job in this book. If you see the illustrations, she has enhanced my book and brought the stories alive. So thank you, Zainab, for all that. Okay. And after, of course, my stories bring out the plight of each of the animals, but the protagonists in the story show that with a little bit of care, a little bit of care can go a long way in helping to revive the numbers of these species which are on the brink of extinction. And I have tried to, as Sri Nandi also mentioned, try to keep a positive note in the story. It's not all gloom and doom. Children should know that there is hope always. We just do a little bit, we spread the word. So before I read the few excerpts from my book, I would like to sincerely thank BNHS for publishing my book, Zainab Tambawala for illustrating, and the 3 ladies of the publications department, Maitri, Vibhuti, and Sonali, who have been working so hard and so closely with me in editing and correcting all the overlooked typos and errors. And of course, I would like to thank the BNHS team also for arranging this wonderful program. So without much ado, friends, I'm going to read a few excerpts just to give you a peep sneak into the book. So my first excerpt is from the story of the pink-headed duck. Just as Daivik was approaching the distant deserted island, he saw something strange. A small pink cloud rose from the marsh and began to circle overhead. As this rosy cloud approached closer, Daivik's heartbeat began to race with excitement. It was not a cloud, but a flock of birds. He could hear their raucous calls, a weird fusion of honking, gaggling, and quacking. With a noisy flutter, the cloud broke up and the birds descended like parachutes on the other side of the island. Daivik counted them as they came down. There were 16 of them, all unusually large ducks. One of the ducks, however, did not move with the flock, but swooped down straight towards his boat and perched upon the bow. It stared at Daiwick unblinkingly. Its rose-pink head contrasted beautifully with its dark brown body. The duck swayed its long, graceful neck back and forth as if it was trying to tell Daiwick something. He noticed that the tip of the duck's left wing was a bit frayed, like someone had tried pulling off its feathers. Where had these birds come from? He had never seen them before. Yet there was something vaguely familiar about the bird perched before him. And suddenly it struck a chord. He used to wear a shirt that had a pink-headed duck embroidered on it by his grandmother when he was small. It used to be his favorite shirt. Daiwick was thrilled to bits. He reached out his hand to touch the duck, but it flapped its great wings and made off to where the rest of the flock had flown. That afternoon, while his grandmother cooked the fish, Daiwick told her about his discovery. "Aha, the pink-headed ducks," she exclaimed. "They used to be around here when I was a child. People used to hunt them and relish eating them, just like the other poultry in the market. Perhaps that is why the few that were left flew away elsewhere. I wonder where they have gone all these years." Daiwick pulled out the tin trunk from under his bed and rummaged through his treasures, old toys and knickknacks. And yes, he found it, the shirt with a pink-headed duck embroidered on it. And by a strange coincidence, the threads at the tip of the left wing had come loose. So that's from the pink-headed duck. I will read another excerpt. This is from The Grey Ghost of the Mountains. The two siblings, Bounce and Pasha, were having a rollicking time. They hadn't a care in their world of snow-capped mountains, the Himalayas. They were tugging at each other's tails and rolling, frisking and prancing about in the soft snow, when suddenly they stopped and grew alert, stiffening and pricking up their ears. What had drawn their attention was a strange buzzing sound that grew louder and louder. Their translucent green eyes moved quizzically towards the sky from where the sound emerged. "Is that a bird, brother?" 1-year-old Bounce asked her elder brother Pasha. "Doesn't seem like," replied Pasha. "How can it be a bird? It doesn't have wings. Didn't you notice?" Both cubs twitched their noses, trying to sniff out the alien creature in their midst. "It doesn't even smell like a bird." Just then, the mother of the two siblings leapt by their side from a very high rocky outcrop, which was her watchpost, to scan for the blue sheep and ibex, the snow leopard's prey. "Quick, we have to hide behind the great rock," she hissed, and made towards a tall rocky wall that stood nearby. The two cubs obediently followed their mother. All three snow leopards stood motionless behind their great rock, their great furry coat patterned with darkish rosettes, affording them a perfect camouflage against the snow-capped mountains. "Mama, is this creature in the sky the two-legged human that Grandpa used to talk about?" Pasha asked his mother. "It doesn't smell like the warm-blooded humans. Perhaps it is something sent by them. They're supposed to be clever but dangerous. Perhaps it is a weapon that can shoot and kill. I remember Grandpa mentioning about it. Humans wanted to kill him with it, but he had managed to escape." Bounce began trembling like a leaf. I hope this weapon doesn't shoot at us. I don't want to die," she purred. Her mother drew her close and nuzzled her comfortingly. So I think I shall stop now, otherwise I can go on and on reading various excerpts. I would request all of you to please try and get hold of a copy of the book. It is available on the BNHS website, www.bnhs.org, and it is also available on Amazon.in. So I hope you liked the few little bits of excerpts, and do try and get a copy of the book and read it. Okay, so we can.
Thank you so much, Katie ma'am. And I was also lost in your talk, and we have another plans now. So let's move. I would now request Dr. Raju Kasambe to say few words about the book and also reads excerpts. Raju sir, should I share the screen for you?
He's on mute.
So you can unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you, Priyanka, and thanks to all for joining. Can you share the screen for me?
Yes, sure.
I'll just share some information on the screen. Otherwise, I may lose something. This is about the book I'll be talking. So make it full screen if you can. So this is an e-book which I originally wrote in English, that is 100 Common Birds in India, and Dr. Satya Prakash Mehra, and he translated the book. He is the co-author and very well-known name, as he has already translated another book for BNHS, that is the Uttar Bharat Ke Pakshi. And this book is made available on Internet of Birds, which is an Android app. By BNHS and developed by Accenture Lab for BNHS. That's how this book comes to the audience through BNHS app. That is Internet of Birds. That is what I wanted to say. And our partner organization of Indian Bird Conservation Network, that is Wildlife and Environment Conservation Society in Amravati. There is the English book as well as the Hindi book, and these are all free e-books. And I'll tell you about this series of e-books. The original e-book being in English. Can you move on to the next slide? Yeah. So the book was in English, and this book has descriptions of 100 common birds, widespread birds found in India. In fact, I first studied on eBird and Bird Count India the data of all the 15,000 bird watchers submitted on this website, and found out which are the 100 really common birds which are found throughout India or across the Indian landscape, and those 100 species were selected for this ebook. So this has got information on identification, the calls of these birds, residential status, habitat. Most importantly, it has got the latest maps of these 100 species, because all those books, even INSKEEP and all the latest field guides, they have wrong maps of distribution of Indian birds. So this book has latest maps, and which is contributed and which has been made through the contribution 15,000 bird watchers in India. And every species is illustrated on one page in a color photograph. And the purpose of this book is to reach out to maximum people, so and spread the knowledge about birds and make the young generation interested in because they are mostly stuck to their tabs, their mobile phones, or their laptops. So I'm trying to to those through the e-books. Next, Priyanka. So, Common Birds in India is being published in 13 languages, and already we have published in Gujarati and Manipuri, and both these editions are available on BNHS Android app, that is the Internet of Birds. And the Hindi book we are publishing today. So thanks to you, all of you, for joining. Then we have Urdu, Punjabi, then Mundari language in Jharkhand, then Bengali, India, Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, and Mizo. And most of the translations are already done. Next, Priyanka. So how it will be available? The most important thing, and how it reaches the audience, is you just have to download the Android app, Internet of Birds, which is also useful for identifying birds. If any of us find a bird and click it, you can identify and find out the name of the bird through this app. You just upload the image, and in 10 to 15 seconds, the Android app tells you what is the name of the species. So through this mobile app, if you go to the book section, you can read this book on that app directly. And you can download all the ebooks. There are many more ebooks on that Android app, which BNHS has made available for the people. So the app is developed by Accenture Lab, a very well-known company in this field for BNHS on a pro bono basis. Next, Priyanka. So this is the vote of thanks. Actually, I want to thank our director, Dr. Vivas Pandav, for making and the WECS Amravati, Abyssian Partner Foundation, for helping me in publishing all the 13 editions in 13 languages of the book. Accenture Lab for developing the Android app for BNHS, as well as the app for BNHS pro bono. Dr. Satyaprakash Mehra for translating this book in beautiful Hindi language. As you know, the language we speak in Mumbai is totally a polluted language, or a Mumbai language. Next. Next, Priyanka. Just want to thank Nina Davang, who designed and made this beautiful cover for the book, which was otherwise impossible for me. And he's a very talented young fine artist from Maharashtra. Bird Count India for providing the latest maps of distribution. Otherwise, in any presently published hard copy of any bird guide, you won't find correct maps of distribution of birds in India. I want to thank all the photographers who helped me with their without asking for any financial gains, and my colleagues at BNHS for the inspiration, and my all regional language translators who are translating the book in 13 languages, and Priyanka for thanks, Priyanka. This is an e-book, and it has got information about all those things which I mentioned. Besides what BNHS does to study bird migration, and if you find a tagged bird, where to report, how the BNHS does tagging, all those information is there in this book about BNHS. So the book has a lot of things about BNHS, and I'm sure when you download and go through the book, you feel that it's as good as a book about BNHS. Thank you. I stop here, Priyanka. Over to you.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the introduction about the books. And I have come across, like, I've read your English book, and that's the amazing one. And it has a very much illustrated information. Illustrations are very good, and information is very brief about the birds, the common birds of India. And I'm yet to read Katie Ma'am's books. I'm very excited for the copy. When I'm on field right now, and once I go back to Mumbai, I will first get the copy and I'll read it out. Thank you so much, and we'll move to the next thing. So, if Satyaprakash sir, are you there?
Yes, he's there.
Yeah. Satyaprakash sir? Yeah. Can you say a few words about the book?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Priyanka. And thanks, BNHS team. Really, it is a very good, pleasing time for me to be again with BNHS. First of all, Dr. Raju, thanks a lot. You are doing recommendable work, because common birds for common mass, this is very important. And whatever the presentation you made through this particular field book are really amazing for the commoners. Number two, the translations which has been done. Now we can really say that yes, ornithology is becoming popular through such type of literature which are available. Because many times when I was working, I came across this particular point from the field workers or the workers at the grassroots level, that whatever the literature available, we find in English. Hindi literature or something, regional language are hardly to see. And that was major, we can say, a barrier to just sensitize the common mass. But after such type of publication, such type of literature, definitely the mission, the vision, what BNHS is thinking and what BNHS wants from last year or more, over 100 years, definitely now we can feel that yes, now a common man, they are now in reach with such type of information through such type of regional guidebooks. So thanks a lot, and I hope the one incomplete work which is still there is in my mind in our previous work in 2004 when Uttar Bharat Ke Pakshi was released, one work that is the classification as per the Indian language that is still lagging behind. The half of the work it was completed at that particular time, but that has to be completed. And I think Dr. Raju, your plan, your ambitious, whatever the steps you are taking in this particular field. And of course, Dr. Vivash is there. And I feel that that should be now again retaken and let's complete that work, because classification based on Hindi names, how to coin the standardized Hindi names, because in English, there is a lot of information, lot of literature available. But in Hindi, or we can say the Indian languages, the classification is something, not very popular or not common and even not available. So we should come to certain standardized approach for the Indian language to bring all such scientific classification in real Vaigyanik Vargikaran. Na? Hindi mein like that we can do again. So that is what is required right now. And I'm always with you. And of course, Dr. Vivash is there. And I am proud that he's right now in Rajasthan. But he is in the western side. And right now, from where I am in touch with all of you, it is the eastern part. That is the Gangapur city, very close to Ranthambore or near to Kevladev National Park. So I am right now joined all of you from this particular point. Last but not least, I am thankful to two main my institute or organization, the Rajputana Society of Natural History, Dilip Kumar, who helped me a lot in typing and typesetting, and Prakash Sharma. So Dilip Kumar from Rajputana Society of Natural History and Prakash Sharma from Agarwal Kanya Mahavidyalaya, the girls' PG college in Gangapur city. Both of them, they worked hard in typing and setting the Hindi fonts, as well as revising each and everything. So thanks to all of them. And once again, thanks to all the BNHS team. Priyanka, wonderfully you are coordinating all this particular program. Thanks to Katie. I'm meeting Srinanda ma'am here. Vivash, hi, hello to you, and definitely we'll be meeting, and I can see a lot of BNHS team. Abhijit is there, and I think Prashant is also there, and a lot of people which are known to me from BNHS. I hope that very soon we'll be physically again meeting all of them, and I also invite BNHS team to be in Rajasthan to see how Green Munia has been, now the part of the common people. What I heard from Katie ma'am's book, that had it been lost, but Green Munia, which was that ignition was from BNHS only, and me and Sarita is also here. So both of us, we started working on Green Munia, and how now Green Munia is the part of the common people. This is what exactly we can see. So this book, definitely a grassroots people can get in touch, and hopefully we'll be popularizing more of such Indian language literature. Thanks to all of you. Thanks a lot. Over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you so much. And definitely we are looking forward to come to Rajasthan. And yeah, so we will move forward. And do we have anyone from Accenture Lab? Raju sir? Okay. So I would now request one. So here we, if you can see the videos, you can see many small faces, little faces have joined just for these two amazing books. So here we have one little champ, Master Kabir. So I would like to request Master Kabir to say a few words about the book.
Sure. Good evening, friends. I'm Kabir Nirmal Jaising, and today I take this opportunity to speak about one more feather in Miss Katie's hat, about her book, The Flight of the Pink-Headed Ducks and Other Stories, which gets released while we speak on this platform. I'm lucky to have read this book even before it reaches out to the audience and readers much ahead in October during my Diwali break. I wish to share that this book indeed came very handy during my school research work in science. One of the 5 stories which are a part of the reading, the story of the return of the Great Indian Bustard, was my key reference to the research topic on critically endangered species. Many amazing unexplored facts made my project different. The facts were in a story form, and it truly was a fun way read. This book beautifully encapsulates 6 different species, to name a few: pink-headed ducks, dolphins, the snow panda, and the great Indian bustard, with great illustration and easy content full of new and unexplored facts. A must-read for all, and I feel schools should also make this as their reference guide while covering the topic of the endangered species. This book beautifully encapsulates all the 5 species. Thank you.
Thank you, Kabir. You made people make their minds to it. Yes, Priyanka.
Thank you so much, Kabir. Okay, so now we'll move to one interesting thing of the very good, artist over here, Miss Madhura Kulkarni, and we will be watching her dance performance on Pink-Headed Duck. First, I would like to request Madhura to please show her hat, the Pink-Headed Duck hat. Madhura, are you there?
Yes.
You can unmute yourself.
You can unmute yourself.
Hello everyone, this is Madhura Sachin. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
This is Madhura Sachin and I'm really glad to have this opportunity for performing my dance. So, this is my hand.
All right.
I hope you will enjoy my dance. Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you so much, Madhura, for joining. And can we have a video of her dance, please? Just a minute. Please hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So here is the video. Amazing.
I think after all this, we should one day be able to see the pink-headed duck again. Yeah. So I think, yes, Priyanka.
Yeah, Madhura, in the chat box, and there are reactions are coming for you. And such a wonderful and graceful dance, Madhura. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madhura. Yes.
Thank you. So, Katie, ma'am.
Yes.
I the event almost. Do you want to say anything about Madhura's dance and overall?
Yes. I think that was beautiful, Madhura. I'm really grateful to you. And I'm sure somewhere, wherever the pink-headed duck is, we will get to see it someday. After all that is being done for it. And hopefully all the other endangered species also should come back. And the number should revive. So, should we have the...
Yes, ma'am.
The quiz?
Yes. So we'll proceed with the quiz. So you can start with the questions, ma'am, and I'll keep the watch on the chat box. If I get the right answer, I'll let you know the name.
So folks, after all the talking and everything, this is just a little fun. We're going to have a quiz of just 5 questions. 5 questions. And it's a general quiz. You can answer, be quick, answer, you can write the answer in the chat box. And the name of the person who answers correctly first will be read out. So Priyanka will read out your name if you're one of the first to answer correctly. So we start right now. What kind of habitat is the Great Indian Bustard found in? Can you quickly type? What kind of habitat is the Great Indian Bustard found in? Is it mangrove? Somebody has answered.
Yes,
oh, many answers.
Yes. So the first one is Vishesh. He has typed the right answer. Grassland. Absolutely right.
Great. Very good, Vishesh. All right. Second question. What is the snow leopard's prey? Quickly. What could be the snow leopard's prey? Himalayan goat. Anyone else? I think Kabir Jai Singh is the closest to it. The blue sheep.
Yes.
The blue sheep, he's written sheep. Right. Blue sheep on Parang. That is Kabir Jai Singh. Right. So you read the book well. All right, everyone, be ready for the third question. Why are red pandas diminishing in numbers? Is it because of habitat degradation, or because of poaching or hunting, or what? Because of their habitat being degraded. Yes, Kabir Jai Singh once again, correct. Somebody else also typed the correct answer. Who's that? Saili. Saili also. Dhruv said poaching and hunting. Saili did. Right. It is basically habitat degradation. And of course, because of their very beautiful fur, they are also being killed. I mean, they were at one time converted into hats and garments. Wearing red panda garments was a fashion statement at one time. But now it is, of course, banned. All right. The fourth question. How do dolphins communicate with each other? What kind of sounds do they produce? to communicate with each other? Anybody? Sound waves. But what could the sound waves be?
Yes, I think Kabir.
Kabir has answered correctly. Whistles and clicking sounds. That's how. The dolphin, every dolphin has its own signature tune for its baby. So the baby can identify its mother from that particular whistling signature tune. It's amazing. And the last question, which birds during their migration, long migration from Siberia, stop at Nagaland for a while before they proceed to Africa? Which birds? Yes, Vishesh has typed the correct answer, Amur falcon. And at one time at Nagaland, they used to be killed and eaten, but thanks to BNHS's campaign, no longer is that done. So the Amur falcons migrate successfully all the way. Right. Yeah, and they're welcomed in Nagaland now. Great work, all of you. That was nice. So Priyanka, over to you again.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. I'm happy to see the participation from this all students, children, right? And now we'll move to the last segment of the event, and that's the vote of thanks. First, I would like to give my thanks to BNHS Director, Dr. Bhivash Panda, for giving me this opportunity to host this event for time out during, even if he's traveling to Rajasthan. And thank you so much, sir, for joining in this event. Then I would like to thank to all the authors to bringing out and writing these amazing books. And I'm definitely looking forward to read the Katie Ma'am book, because I have already read the Rajasar's book. Katie Ma'am, I would like to thank you especially for this book, The Flight of Pink-Headed Ducks. Raju sir and Satyaprakash sir, I would like to thank you for this Bharat Ke Sau Samanya Pakshi Hindi version of the book through Internet of Bird, the mobile app by BNHS. And thanks to Accenture Lab for the app, creating this app. They made the app for us, and through that app only we are publishing that book. Then I would like to thank Ms. Vibhuti Dedia, Assistant Director Publication, BNHS. I would like to thank Ms. Sonali Vadavkar and Ms. Maitri Ma'am for bringing out and helping in this long procedure of book release, and cooperating, coordinating with Katie Ma'am and Sachin sir and all of us. Then I would like to thank Mr. Sachin Kulkarni for his continuous help in organizing this event. Then I would like to thank our little champs, especially Madhura and Kabir, for their participation in this event. And Madhura, I'm again thanking you for that graceful art form, and we look forward for more such dance form from you. And I would like to thank Ms. Jainab Tamawala for using illustrations for the Katie Ma'am's book, The Flight of Pink-Headed Ducks. Then, last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants for joining this event. Without you, this event would not have been possible. And so much for taking out time for this book release. And I would like to, close this event with the but we find ourselves there too. So yes, so with that said, I stop here, and if in case I missed any names, apologies for that. But on behalf of BNHS, I thank each and every one of you for taking out time for this event and making this a successful event. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day. Take care.
And thank you to you too, Priyanka, for hosting the event. Although you are in such a remote area, but still you managed to. That's the wonderful
Thank you
part
so
of our
much.
internet. Thank you, everybody. Wish you all the best. Yes.
Thank you.
And good night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good night. Kitty ma'am, can you please stay for a while?
Sure.
Others can leave. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Zainab, once again.
Kitty ma'am, Sachin sir, Raju sir, can you please wait for some time?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So Kitty ma'am, I think everyone has left.
No, there are some people.
So we can, what can we do? We can leave for, we can leave from this meeting and we'll get in touch afterwards. Is it okay?
Sure. Okay.
Thank you so much, everyone. Good
All
night.
right. Good night. Take care.
Take care.
Enjoy. Yeah. Thank you, Raju sir. Bye. It was fun to be with you. Thank you, Priyanka. It was great fun.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Take care, ma'am.
Yeah. I'm leaving the meeting. Okay.
Yes, sure.